How long do you think this fan base takes before they want Amorim gone and
this season?
What do you mean? I've already seen Amorim out for fans. What are you talking about?
Again, there's answer this seriously. It depends upon them at United fan. People that don't use their real name or face, some of them are already doing it. But at the same time, I've said this for you never really know if they're real Man United fans or not. Equally, a lot of them are just looking for attention, especially, and listen, and if that's how you make your money, I'm not saying don't do it, especially the ones who are now sponsored by like the betting companies, which, by the way, Salah should have scored. Salah should have scored twice. He missed. The ones that are sponsored by the betting companies and everything's about post engagement, they will go with what they think's going to get the most traction. Okay, but I don't necessarily take their opinion seriously. When it comes to match going Man United fans, as an example, it will take a long time for them to turn on the manager. When it comes to content creators, it's all going to be about. It's not going to be about Man United for a large proportion. It's going to be about what's best for me in my career. And there'll be some, they may not discuss it publicly or in groups, but they'll be thinking about it most definitely. If results don't start to improve soon, when do I go? Because you don't want to go too early. If you go too early, there won't be the growth that you want from it. There'll be too much of a rejection. But you don't want to leave it too late, because what a lot of content creators want is to say, I was first. I did it first, because they believe there is equity in that. So to answer your question straight, you have to give a multifaceted answer, because it isn't as simple as 1 week, 1 month. It depends upon the person. I think there's a lot of content creators, a lot of sort of Twitter faces, a lot of people that are involved in that world. They will turn quicker if they see pound notes being made from it. However, the ones that will turn early will just be saying the same things about him as I've said about all the other managers. Get this manager out, get somebody with tactics and a style of play, and we'll be able to win.
Question, Terry, this is even a question. How good was Erik ten Hag's record when he first came into the club?
Well, as look at Ajax.
No, United.
Man United. He got smashed in his first 2 games. And then, in fairness, we then went on a really good run for about 6 months, the first 6 months. The problem with that run is that he essentially created a system where we were very hard to break down and we were good in the transitional attack. So we used the speed of the likes of Rashford, Martial, etc. to score our goals. The problem in this is that as soon as he's tried to start opening us up more and play more his brand the following year, it all fell apart and it came undone. So his start, I think Amorim's start could have been better if he'd have done what Van Nistelrooy did, which was pack the midfield with the 2 DMs, be hard to break down and counter-attack. We kind of looked better in that regard. However, the problem is we've done this with all of our managers. We have never settled on a way of playing football and built a squad to play that way.
But what I would say is the reason why you got rid of him was for the style of play. The style of play needing to be consistent is a very important factor, what you just mentioned. But then the results do need to follow too. So it's not just all about style of play. Because for me personally, this was Chelsea, and this Maresca doing what he's doing right now, but a bit better, because obviously our team's a bit better than yours. I wouldn't be happy seeing very inconsistent performances, regardless of what I want.
But then
losing
but you gotta analyze the performance.
I don't know about how much the players like. That's
I understand you, and I'm not happy with the results. The only difference is, would Maresca have got your team this good this quickly if he would have come in last season in November and had no preseason, no training, was playing also 2 games a week, no time to implement his system and stuff? This is why I said I wanted Ten Hag gone after the FA Cup final, and for a new head coach to be given the whole summer to train his team. Our players, according to Amorim, and I don't see why he would lie, they've not had one single training session to learn his style of football. Every training session is match preparation. So they're not sitting down and working on the fundamentals of how he plays yet.
I agree with this, but that means Ineos. That's Ineos' fault then, isn't it?
Yeah, but we blamed Ineos for that.
I'm not saying you didn't, Cage. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and we know that, and that's why in the summer I said this is a mistake keeping Ten Hag. I hope it works, but it's a mistake, and it's something, just like your owners that you backed. Getting rid of your board, mistake to begin with. The people they hired to do your recruitment, mistake to begin with. The first 2 or 3 manager appointments and sackings, mistakes. but they got there in the end.
No, but
And
it's different though, Terry. 'Cause
I'm hoping that we don't make as many mistakes as Clear Lake did in the beginning. But I hear you. I'll own it. They've made a big mistake by keeping Ten Hag.
Yeah, no, we
100%.
can both agree with that. I'm not trying to hit you down with that stick.
Mm.
You can agree Ineos made a mistake. But what I would say is different between when I back my ownership is I was one of the only ones. You man know this, you and Terry, you and KJ, yeah. Because I was saying it 2 years ago that I backed them because of what I believed they were doing. Ineos haven't shown anything yet for you guys to believe in, other than what have they really shown you to make you believe in them?
So
and
give
if
me
you
some
say
examples.
put people in the right position,
So
isn't
hang
that
on,
bare
so
minimum?
hang on. So
Yeah.
tell me the things that your club did that made you believe in them, and I'll see, and I'll answer.
I like their vision of the first season when they came in. They done the whole like we had no director of football. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about after that. We hired all the people, and then they clearly said,
okay, so give me some specifics about things they did that made you believe.
no, it's the things they were doing and saying. I like the fact
Yeah,
that
but yeah. So tell me what those things are.
I'm attempting to. So they
Go
were
on.
buying young players, right? They're
Yep.
willing to go over the odds for these players, such as Enzo Fernandez, on the first purchase we got.
1-0
I like the
Liverpool.
fact- of course, Liverpool, Tottenham rubbish. I like the fact that they wanted to go down this route no matter what. So even though the signings were a bit iffy and they were getting loads of young players in, I liked how they were being consistent with it and they were going through with it. And even hired Potter, who also had a good record with young players at Brighton, etc.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I was like, oh, even though it's not working, I believe in it. What have Ineos showed you guys?
Yeah. So
Andrew, which is like,
on
Can I-
KJ, please, because I want to. Yeah. So for me, we have started similar. We've actually gone and bought 3 very, very talented young players that are currently within our development squad. We've just gone and signed another very, very talented young man who joins us in the summer of 2025. His name eludes me, but a very well talented player from South America. So in terms of going out and trying to buy some of the very best young talent from around the world, this is something that's been part of United's tradition for many decades. Ineos have reintroduced that straight away. Of course, another thing that they have done is spoke about redeveloping the stadium in the local area, which is about 20 years overdue. They've also pumped in nearly £300 million of their own money into the football club, which is £300 million more than the Glazers ever did, as an example. And lots of there's things they've done I don't like. I don't like what they've done with the stewards. I don't like what they've done with the ticket prices. And I'll hold my hands up to that. But there's even an article that came out yesterday as a case in point that speaks about the level of standards and pressure they're putting on the academy, which is, we don't want you to just develop players. We want there to be pressure upon these youth teams to win do better in like the youth cups as an example, and to do better in the under 21s leagues, because we want to produce players that are more match ready to come into the first team. So these are just a few examples of things that they're doing, that they've discussed and they've put out, that make me see they're operating on a football level different to the Glazers. Now, I can't guarantee, because I'm not in the room with them, that it's going to yield the end result that we want. But where the encouragement comes from is all these fundamental changes. So just a reason I gave those as examples is you spoke about young players and the types of players you were going after, and then a manager in
and also the ruthlessness of getting rid of the players who weren't performing.
So yeah,
because there's a lot of players I don't agree with.
So when it comes to ruthlessness, in the summer we got rid of quite a few players that United fans would have considered to be deadwood, but we all knew they were not all going in one summer. It was going to take a few years, like with yourselves. But equally, you look at the Rashford situation. The club and the new head coach are not happy with how he's operating. Bang, he's going. Dan Ashworth made some big decisions, like keeping Ten Hag, which we've all admitted was wrong. As soon as they realized they made a mistake, what did they do? Boom, they sacked him and got rid of him because of that ruthlessness. So when sort of it comes to what you're saying, it doesn't mean both our clubs are going to end up in the same position. But the examples you gave as to what made you back Clear Lake, I've seen very similar things Ineos do. So for the time being, I will criticize the things they get wrong, but I have still a strong belief that in the next 2 to 3 years, they can help us develop a team that can get us somewhere close to the top. Dan here says, against low blocks, we have to recycle the ball a lot, or nearly 2-0 to Liverpool, a lot to draw the defense out. Everton parked the bus, and it was always going to slow the game down. Good point there, Dan. It really, really was. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in for the last hour or so. We are back live after Tottenham.